So have you ever scrolled through Reddit and thought, wait, are people actually building businesses and like launching whole trends from this thing?
Yeah, it can seem a bit like a secret society, right?
It totally does. I mean, I see these stories of people making it big on Reddit, but then I open the app and I'm like, where do I even begin?
Well, the key is understanding that Reddit is less of a single platform and more like a massive collection of individual communities, each with its own personality and focus.
Okay, so like instead of one giant Facebook feed, it's more like,
Like a city with tons of different neighborhoods. These neighborhoods are called subreddits, and each one's dedicated to a specific topic. You've got everything from the serious, like finance and investing, to, well, the absurd. Like, there's a whole subreddit for pictures of bread that look like other things. It's oddly captivating, actually.
yeah, you're already making me want to get lost down a Reddit rabbit hole. But for our deep dive today, we're really focusing on how to use Reddit for knowledge and opportunity, right?
Right.
Because our listeners are all about that hustle.
Absolutely. And there's a ton of potential here, even if you're not trying to go viral with a funny bread picture.
So where do we start? I mean, Reddit seems vast.
Let's say you want to understand a specific audience, like some super niche market research. Reddit is a goldmine for that.
Okay, give me an example.
Imagine you're about to launch a new line of, say, those super cool mechanical keyboards. Instead of just guessing what features people want, head over to the Our Mechanical Keyboards subreddit.
Okay, what am I doing there? Just kind of lurking?
You're not just lurking, you're listening. Pay attention to what people are complaining about with their current keyboards, what features they wish existed. See how they describe their ideal typing experience.
So I'm gathering intel straight from the source.
Precisely. It's market research, but instead of expensive focus groups, you're getting real, unfiltered opinions directly from your target audience.
I love it. It's like digital eavesdropping, but for good.
That's one way to put it, and that's just one tiny example of what you can do.
Now, I've got to be honest. I've always thought of Reddit as kind of a place where everyone's just trying to, like, sell each other stuff.
Oh yeah, the dreaded hard sell. That almost never works on Reddit. In fact, it'll usually backfire.
Okay, so how do we avoid being that person and actually use Reddit to make genuine connections?
The real magic happens when you become part of the community and start providing value. Think of it like, hanging out in a coffee shop.
I can get behind that analogy.
You wouldn't just walk up to someone and say, hey, buy my product.
Oh, that's so cringe.
Right. Instead, you'd strike up a conversation, find common ground, maybe offer to share your muffin.
Okay, so translate that to Reddit for me.
Imagine you're in a subreddit, like, say, Our Entrepreneur or Our Side Project, and someone's asking for advice on validating their business idea. Instead of jumping in with a pitch for your consulting services, offer some genuine advice based on your own experience.
So I'm being a Reddit mentor. I like the sound of that.
Exactly. You're building trust and credibility, and who knows, that person you helped might become a client or a collaborator down the line. But the key is to lead with value, not with a sales pitch.
All right, I'm seeing the light here. So I'm being helpful, contributing to the conversation. How do I go from being random helpful person to a recognized expert in a particular subreddit? Does Reddit, like, give out trophies or something?
No trophies. But consistently putting out high-quality content goes a long way. Let's say you're a designer hanging out in, bar design critiques. Don't just browse, actively provide feedback.
Oh, so like actually critique people's work.
Yep. Offer detailed insights, even if it's just a quick mock-up or a different perspective. You're showcasing your expertise without being pushy about it.
So the more I share my knowledge freely, the more I build that reputation as someone who knows their stuff.
Exactly. Think of it like becoming a regular at your favorite cafe. The barista knows your name, your order, you have those little chats. On Reddit, you become that familiar face people trust and value.
Okay, this is making so much more sense. But let's be real. I'm also interested in driving traffic to my own projects. Whether it's a website, a portfolio, maybe an online shop. How do I do that on Reddit without being, well, annoying?
I knew you were going to ask that. It's on everyone's mind.
Yeah.
The key difference on Reddit is that you're not just broadcasting out into the void, right? You're part of a community with its own, set of rules and culture.
So no randomly dropping links and hoping for the best.
Nope. That's the equivalent of crashing a dinner party and immediately pulling out product brochures. Major faux pas.
Yeah.
Think about how you can provide value first.
Okay, so how do I weave in my own stuff without being like, a Reddit salesperson.
Let's say you've got a killer blog post about the best free graphic design tools. You wouldn't just post the link randomly, right?
That would be spammy.
Exactly. Instead, find a relevant subreddit like Art Graphic Design or Learn Design. Then, look for a post where someone's asking for recommendations for those kinds of tools.
Ooh, so I'm actually answering their questions.
Yes. Share your insights, be helpful, and then casually mention, hey, I actually wrote a whole blog post about this if you want more detail. People appreciate the transparency and the genuine help.
I love how subtle and non-salesy that is. It's all about context, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And this approach works for so many things on Reddit, whether you're sharing a portfolio, a helpful resource, or even promoting an event.
Okay, so we've covered market research, connecting with people, becoming a known expert, and ethically driving traffic. What else can Reddit do? I'm all about learning new things, so what's in it for me on that front?
Oh, get ready for this, because it's where Reddit gets seriously exciting. Forget those expensive online courses. Reddit's like a giant free e-university, and it's open 24/7.
Wait, seriously? People are actually teaching stuff on Reddit?
Oh, yeah, and it's not just amateur hour. There are subreddits dedicated to, almost any skill imaginable, and a lot of the folks sharing their knowledge are pros in their fields.
A Reddit University. Sign me up.
So what kind of classes are we talking about here? I mean, where do we even begin? Want to learn how to code? Learn programming is amazing. Budding photographer. Our photography is a treasure trove of tips and inspiration. You can even learn super specific software like, Blender in, you guessed it, Buglender.
I'm already feeling smarter just thinking about it. So it's like a library, a mentor, and a study group all rolled into one.
Exactly. And it's all driven by people who genuinely love what they do and want to share that passion with others.
Okay, this is seriously blowing my mind. I'm starting to understand why people get so obsessed with Reddit.
Well,
it's way more than just funny memes and cat pictures.
It's definitely got a depth that surprises a lot of people.
Okay, before we, totally geek out on all the awesome possibilities here, are there any things we need to avoid doing on Reddit? Any pitfalls or dark sides we should be aware of?
That's a really important question because, like any online space, Reddit has its share of, let's say, less than savory corners. You've got spammers, rule breakers, and just general negativity you want to steer clear of.
Okay, so how do we avoid the Reddit trolls and drama?
The key is being a good digital citizen. Treat Reddit like you would a real-life community. You wouldn't go around spamming flyers or interrupting conversations with irrelevant comments, right?
I would hope not.
Same rules apply online. Each subreddit has its own set of guidelines, usually listed in the sidebar, and it's crucial to read and respect them. It's like local customs. You gotta learn them before you jump in.
So no diving headfirst into a subreddit without understanding the vibe?
Exactly. Take some time to observe how people interact, read the rules, and make sure you're contributing genuinely and respectfully, even when you disagree with someone. And if you see something that's truly out of line, report it.
Okay, this makes sense. Reddit is a powerful tool, but like any tool, it can be used for good or for, not so good.
Absolutely. And that's what makes it so fascinating, right? It's a reflection of humanity with all its complexities, but it's also a platform with immense potential for learning, connecting, and creating.
I'm officially convinced. So where do we even begin to explore this massive world?
Well, the good news is you don't have to tackle it all at once.
Okay, you've officially sparked my Reddit curiosity. But there are so many subreddits. Where do I even start?
It can definitely feel overwhelming at first. It's like standing in front of a giant buffet with a million delicious options. You don't have to try everything at once, right?
Okay, so how do I narrow it down and find the subreddits that are actually worth my time?
Think about what you're passionate about. What are your interests? Are you a tech geek, a foodie, a history buff?
All of the above, honestly. But for the sake of this example, let's say I'm super into sustainable living. Where would I start my Reddit journey?
Perfect example. If you're into sustainable living, you could start by searching for keywords like eco-friendly, zero waste, or sustainable living right in the Reddit search bar.
Okay, and then I'm guessing a ton of results pop up.
Most likely, yeah. Look for subreddits with a good mix of activity and engagement. You want a community that's active enough to have regular discussions and fresh content, but not so huge that your voice gets lost in the noise.
So it's like finding that Goldilocks subreddit. Not too big, not too small, but just right.
Exactly. And once you've found a few promising ones, spend a little time browsing the posts and comments. Get a feel for the community's vibe. Are the discussions respectful? Is the content actually interesting to you?
It's like checking out the menu before committing to a table at a restaurant.
Exactly. And just like in a restaurant, you might need to try a few different dishes before you find the ones you absolutely love.
All right, I've found my tribe, or I guess my subreddit. Now, how do I, actually start engaging and becoming part of the community?
Okay, this is where the fun really begins. The first step is to simply observe. Read the posts, pay attention to the tone of the conversations. It's like listening in on a party before jumping into the dance floor.
So observe the social dynamics before I make a fool of myself.
Right. Once you feel comfortable, start by commenting on posts that genuinely interest you. Share a personal experience, offer a helpful tip, or even just ask a thoughtful question.
But remember, no shameless self-promotion, right? We talked about that.
Exactly. At this stage, it's all about building relationships and showing that you're a genuine contributor to the community. Think of it like making friends in real life. You wouldn't walk up to someone and immediately start talking about your business, right?
No way. That's so awkward. You'd find some common ground first.
Exactly. It takes time to build trust and rapport, both online and offline. So be patient, be consistent, and most importantly, be yourself.
Okay, so I'm being helpful, I'm engaging in conversations. How do I know if I'm actually making an impact? Does Reddit have some kind of progress bar?
You're talking about Reddit Karma. It's not as mystical as it sounds, but it's definitely a unique aspect of the platform.
Okay, spill the beans. What is karma, and why should I care about it?
Basically, karma is like a point system that reflects your contributions to the community. You earn karma when people upvote your posts and comments. Think of it like a virtual pat on the back.
So it's like a social score, but instead of tracking my credit worthiness, it's tracking my Reddit worthiness.
I like that. And while karma isn't everything, it does come with some perks. Some subreddits actually require a certain amount of karma to post or comment.
Oh, that's interesting. Why is that?
It helps to keep out spammers and ensure that only active, engaged members are participating. It's kind of like a quality control measure.
So it's like earning your stripes before you're allowed into the cool kids club.
Haha. Yeah, kind of. And in some cases, having higher karma can make your content more visible, too.
Wait, really? How does that work?
The Reddit algorithm tends to favor posts and comments from users with good karma, so it's kind of like getting a little boost in visibility.
So the more karma I have, the more likely it is that other people will see my stuff.
Got it. Exactly. And while karma itself doesn't directly translate to money or success, it can indirectly benefit your hustle. Think about it. If you're trying to build a following or attract clients, a high karma score signals that you're a respected member of the community.
Like a virtual seal of approval for my Reddit tiers.
Exactly. And that social proof can be incredibly valuable. Just remember, don't obsess over karma points. Focus on providing genuine value, and the karma will naturally follow.
Okay, I'm starting to understand the karma game. Now, we talked earlier about avoiding blatant self-promotion. But what about those times when you come across an opportunity that's like a perfect match for your skills? How do you navigate that?
This is where Reddit's serendipitous nature really shines. Let's say you're browsing RepDev and you see a post from someone looking for a freelance developer with your exact skill set.
Okay, that's my cue, right? Do I just reply with a link to my portfolio going a day?
Not so fast. Remember, context is everything on Reddit. Instead of a generic self-promotion, take the time to craft a thoughtful response. Explain how your experience aligns with their needs, and maybe casually mention your portfolio as a way for them to learn more.
So it's like, hey, I've done this kind of work before, and if you're interested, you can check out my portfolio here.
Perfect. You're offering value first, and then subtly showcasing your expertise. It's a win-win. And this approach can work for all sorts of opportunities, whether it's a job posting, a collaboration request, or even just a chance to connect with someone who shares your interests.
Okay, I'm seeing the bigger picture here. It's like Reddit is this giant networking event, but instead of awkwardly exchanging business cards, you're building genuine connections based on shared interests.
That's a great way to put it. And just like at a real-life networking event, the key is to be authentic, engaging, and open to those unexpected opportunities. You never know where a simple conversation might lead.
I'm ready to start networking, Reddit style. So we've covered finding the right subreddits, engaging with the community, navigating that whole karma thing, and even subtly promoting ourselves. But I feel like there's one piece of the puzzle we haven't fully explored yet.
You're right. We've talked a lot about the hustling and networking side of Reddit, but let's not forget about its incredible potential as a learning platform.
Yes, Reddit University. We briefly touched on this earlier, but I'm ready for a deeper dive. What makes Reddit such a powerful tool for learning?
It's the perfect blend of accessibility, diversity, and community. You have access to a global network of experts and enthusiasts, all willing to share their knowledge on practically any topic you can imagine. And it's all for free.
It's like having a library, a mentor, and a study group all rolled into one.
Exactly. And there's no pressure to follow a rigid curriculum or pay expensive tuition fees. You can learn at your own pace, exploring topics that truly spark your curiosity.
So if I'm a total newbie to, let's say, coding, where do I even begin? Is there like a Reddit equivalent of Coding for Dummies?
You're in luck. Burlearn Programming is a fantastic starting point. It's a super welcoming community with tons of experienced programmers who are incredibly helpful to beginners.
So it's not just a bunch of tech geniuses talking over my head.
Not at all. They have resources specifically designed for newbies, from step-by-step tutorials to explanations of basic concepts. And if you get stuck, you can always ask questions. The community is super responsive.
It's like having a personal coding tutor on call 24/7.
That's the beauty of it. And it's not just coding. You can find subreddits for pretty much any skill you want to learn, from photography and graphic design to music production and creative writing, even things like woodworking or gardening.
It's like a choose-your-own-adventure for lifelong learning.
Exactly. And the best part is that the learning is often interactive. You can ask questions, join discussions, and get feedback from people with all sorts of different perspectives.
This is seriously impressive. I never realized Reddit had such depth and potential for learning.
It's one of Reddit's best-kept secrets.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it's a beautiful testament to the power of community and the human desire to share knowledge.
So whether I'm looking to launch a side hustle, connect with like-minded people, or just expand my knowledge, Reddit's got me covered.
It definitely does, and the possibilities are pretty much endless.
Okay, my brain is officially buzzing with all these Reddit possibilities. But before we wrap up, I want to circle back to that whole karma thing. Like, is it really that important in the grand scheme of things?
Well, it's definitely unique to Reddit, that's for sure.
Yeah,
It's
right.
like their way of measuring your street cred within the community.
So the more karma I have, the cooler I am on Reddit.
Not necessarily cool, but definitely a sign that you're an active, contributing member. Think of it as a reflection of your reputation within the community.
Okay, so how do I earn those precious karma points? Is there some, like, secret formula I need to know?
It's actually pretty straightforward. You get karma when other Redditors upvote your posts and comments. Each upvote adds to your karma score. It's their way of saying, hey, we like what you have to say.
So it's like a virtual high five for my Reddit peers.
Exactly. And although karma itself doesn't have any real-world value, it can definitely make your Reddit experience a lot more enjoyable.
I'm listening. Tell me more about these karma perks.
Well, for starters, some subreddits have karma requirements for posting or commenting. You know, like you need to have a certain amount of karma before you're allowed to participate.
Why do they do that?
It's mainly to prevent spam and make sure that only genuine, active members are contributing to the conversations.
Ah, so it's like a way of filtering out the riffraff.
Yeah, you could say that. It ensures that the discussions stay high quality and relevant. Plus, having a good amount of karma can sometimes boost the visibility of your posts and comments.
Wait, really? So, like, the Reddit algorithm favors people with good karma.
It can play a role, yeah. Think of it as a subtle signal to the algorithm that you're someone worth listening to.
Okay, so karma is like a virtual pat on the back, a VIP pass to certain subreddits, and maybe even a little visibility boost. Not bad.
Exactly. And while you shouldn't obsess over karma, it's definitely a nice perk of being an active, engaged member of the community.
Okay, karma, I get it. Now, before we say goodbye to our Reddit adventure, what's the one piece of advice you'd give to someone who's just starting out on this wild platform?
Ooh, good question. I'd say start small and focus on your passions.
Keep it simple. Right.
Exactly. Don't try to conquer all of Reddit at once. Pick a subreddit or two that genuinely excites you, something related to your hobbies or interests.
So, like, dip my toes in the water before diving headfirst into the deep end.
Yes. Spend some time exploring the subreddit, reading the posts, getting a feel for the community vibe. Then, when you're ready, jump in and start engaging.
And who knows? Maybe that first tentative comment will spark a new connection, a fascinating insight, or even a whole new opportunity.
That's the magic of Reddit. It's a platform where anything is possible.
This has been an incredible journey. We've gone from Reddit rookies to, well, maybe not experts, but definitely a lot more knowledgeable and a lot less intimidated.
I'd say you've graduated from Reddit 101.
To all our listeners out there, don't be afraid to jump in, explore, experiment, and most importantly, have fun.
The Redditverse awaits.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time for another exploration into the fascinating corners of the internet.